Hi guys, and welcome back on my channel. Today I have a really special review of a figure that is very dear to my heart, and I will get right into it and show you what I'm talking about. So today I will review this Battat Maiasaura of the original Boston Museum of Science figure set, and this figure is a personal holy grail. I think it is the best figure of the series back in the day. I know that for most collectors out there it is probably the Diplodocus, which is their holy grail of the Battat original series, but I think this figure even tops the Diplodocus and is my personal favorite. It is both very old and rare, just how I like it. It is hard to come by and often very expensive. There was no exception here. I had to pay big bucks to find this or buy this. I was searching for it for a very long time, and so when the opportunity presented itself and I found a listing of it, I didn't hesitate too long to spend quite a bit of money to get it and almost complete my Battat collection. Now, before I get into the figure and show you all its beauty, I want to talk about the dinosaur itself, Maiasaura, and why I like it so much and what is special about it. So let's get into it. Maiasaura was a big, up to 9 meters long herbivorous dinosaur that lived about 80 to 65 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period in North America. It was of the family Hadrosauridae, also known as duck-billed dinosaurs, who were characterized by, of course, their duck bill, which you can see right here, their stiff tails, which you can also see quite nicely in the figure, and their sturdy bones. Now, Maiasaura had a crest above, about right over their eyes, and hoof-like feet. It is believed that Maiasaura walked on 2 legs when young and actually shifted into walking on all 4 as they got bigger. They had hundreds of teeth, and their teeth and jaw motions were ideal for grinding big amounts of plant food. It is thought that a full-sized Maiasaura would have needed to eat about 90 kilograms of food every day. Their diet most likely consisted of a combination of fibrous plants, wood, bark, branches, ferns, angiosperms, and possibly grasses. It is also thought that Maiasaura migrated north and south with the seasons to find food. They traveled in herds, possibly up to even tens of thousands. Maiasaura had about average intelligence among dinosaurs, but it was a highly social animal. This is known partly through the discovery of the so-called egg mountain, which showed that Maiasaura laid its eggs in mesh nurseries and nested in colonies. Decades of research on the Montana State's fossils has given insight into the life history of Maiasaura, resulting in what is perhaps the most detailed life history of any dinosaur known, and to which all others can be compared to. They found that Maiasaura's reproduction was seasonal, and more than 1 clutch of eggs each year is suspected. Because the mortality was exceptionally high for juveniles, Maiasaura needed to have as many offspring as possible to increase the number of younglings that reached breeding age. Based on the immature development of the baby dinosaur fossils they found in the nests, it was also hypothesized that they were helpless upon hatching and had to be cared for. This idea is what actually led Jack Horner to give this dinosaur its name. the name Maiasaura, meaning caring or good mother lizard in Latin. Maiasaura cared for and raised its offspring for an extended period of time, and this discovery of this kind of behavior in an animal that had many offspring each breeding season was revolutionary. So now let's get into the figure. The company Battat produced this series of figures in the years 1994 to 1998 in collaboration with the Boston Museum of Science, and it is called the best set of dinosaurs ever sculpted and therefore highly sought after by dinosaur toy collectors. The figures were sculpted by Dan LoRusso and Gregory Wenzel using the most current scientific interpretations of the time, and a lot of the figures, or at least some of the figures, still hold up very well to the current scientific data. This figure, the Maiasaura, being one of them, mainly because there hasn't much changed about how we see or saw this dinosaur from when the figures were originally released and now. This figure was released in the year 1998 and it measures about, let's check, right about 20 centimeters from the tail to the snout. The coloration is not that interesting and many don't like it because of the yellow squiggly line on the tail, but it doesn't bother me and I like it very much. It is mostly brown. There's some dark bluish on the belly and the underside of the animal, and this yellow squiggly line, as I said before, on the tail. The eyes are painted in yellow with a black pupil and some blue around them. The duck-billed snout and the crest are painted in a darker gray color. It seems that the color is very thick. It almost looks like it was painted multiple times with the kind of paint you would use to paint a wall, which may not sound too positive, but I don't mean it in a negative way. The figure is also in a very good condition for its age. Remember, it's 24 years old, which I'm very happy about. Now, as I've done in the last video already, I'm going to cut in a picture of the skeletal reconstructions of this animal right here. And if I would have to rate this figure, I would definitely give it a 10 out of 10. I love this figure. It is probably the second most valuable or dear to my heart figure after the toy-way Ophthalmosaurus, which is also the reason my second review was on this figure after I finally was able to get a hold of it. Let me know in the comments what you would rate this figure, if you like it or if you don't like it, if you have it or you don't have it. And lastly, we'll get into some size comparisons. So I'll see you back in just a second. For the size comparisons, I had to remove the turning table, and the first size comparison that we're gonna do is one of the most obvious ones. I will compare it to the other hadrosaurs of the figure series. So back here we have the Uranosaurus and the Parasaurolophus, which doesn't fit in the picture, so I'll have to move them around a bit, like this maybe. So you can see the Maiasaura is bigger than the Uranosaurus and tiny bit smaller than the Parasaurolophus. Now next up, let's remove those two. We'll do some comparisons with contemporary species or species that came right after from the USA and Canada, which are the Euphocephalus, the Edmontonia, and the Corythosaurus, which I have the Carnegie, very colorful one back here, which I also like a lot. Now on paper, all these four figures were sculpted in a 1:40 scale, but the Edmontonia and the Euphocephalosaurus are a bit too big in my opinion. Or you could say that the two hadrosaurs in the back are just not fully grown adults. Now let's remove those from the picture as well. Let me know if you ever would want a review of any of those other figures you've seen now or you see in the back. And I'll give you a last close-up before I will end this video with some pictures and photographs of this figure. Now here's a close look at the head. Nice detail. The toes and the hoof-like feet with individually painted toenails. The long stiff tail. You can see some muscle definition. Big calves. Nice and small crest. There are the nostrils. There is the whole figure again in frame. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment if you like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you another time. Goodbye.